Deep inside the archaeological museums of Istambul, you'll find ancient Egyptian tombs. This isn't where tourists to modern Turkey usually begin their journey, but some of the common religious ideas in Judaism, Christianity and Islam have their origins in Egypt and in the seasons of the River Nile Delta. Ideas about birth, life and death and rebirth or resurrection. So I think it's a great place to begin. Think of all the fierce debates in Christianity today about the LGBT community. Back in ancient Greece, testimony to nature's spectrum of sexuality was more obvious, as witnessed in this stunning statue of the hermaphrodite. Same museum, by the way. A tourist in Istanbul's museums will be whisked away in time, culture and language. And one of my favourites from the 7 wonders of the ancient world is a lion straight out of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Some people like to think of themselves as grand. Perhaps Alexander the Great, whose kingdom, a few centuries before Christ, stretched across continents. Perhaps he deserved a sarcophagus or a tomb like this. An earlier generation of archaeologists thought this was his tomb. It was excavated from somewhere between Tyre and Sidon in the early 20th century. By the museum's founder, it turns out. Today's experts aren't so sure, but without doubt this tomb has some of the most exquisite carvings you'll ever see. But in my opinion, no one can be unmoved by these little clay tablets. One is the Kadesh Peace Treaty, the oldest peace treaty in the world, dating back centuries before Christ. The other is a copy of a part of Hammurabi's code. Likewise, the 10 Commandments are very likely associated with this. There's another clay tablet just like these. It's the most sublime of all. It's like a child's school book. It says, I multiplied the length by the breadth to get the area. Let's move outside into the afternoon sun. Istambul and the fabulous Golden Horn. A harbour leading out onto a river, the Bosphorus. Fabulous palaces, fabulous wealth, fabulous views. Let's come ashore and walk up the hill to see where Mr. Square meets the perfect curvaceous Ms. It all happens in the Hagia Sophia. Now note those buttresses. They were designed to stop this building collapsing outwards. And who built them? Well, both Christian and Islamic craftsmen concerned that this ancient Christian church come mosque would be preserved for future generations. Out on the Sultanahmet Square, looking back to Hagia Sophia, we get an appreciation of the volume of this ancient church. Inside, the architectural spaces are breathtaking. Ancient mosaics depicting the Christian story are preserved alongside of Islamic calligraphy. It's been one of the greatest Christian churches of all time, as well as a working mosque for centuries. In 1935 it became a museum, although there are plans to revert it to a working mosque once again. What would Justinian have made of it all when he crowned himself emperor of the Roman Empire here in Constantinople back in the 6th century CE? If we stand not so far away from the coronation spot and look up, we see what was one of the great feats of architectural imagination from the ancient world. Think of it this way. What happens when boring old Mr. Square casts his eye upon the perfect Ms. Circle? How can a dome 33 metres in diameter, rising 55 metres above the ground at its crown, sit on a square foundation? Ouch! It's a major headache. But in this building, the pendentif or spherical triangle is first used. Here's the idea. The kiwi fruit's about as bald as I am, so this will be a very good demonstration. Now, if I take a slice through the fruit that way, you can see that I've made a nice sort of almost a kind of a spherical cut into it. And if I do that on each side, just peeling away a bit of kiwi fruit from each side like so, I now have the distribution of what are called pendentives, spherical triangles. And just to illustrate this, let me hollow the kiwi fruit out a little. Whoops, that one came to grief, but I've prepared on another one and I've got it here. It's all nicely done, so let's just put the camera right onto that, and you can see how those pendentives or spherical triangles allow the forces from the dome to be distributed onto foundations on a square. And all of that was worked out with some mathematical precision back in the 6th century when they built Hagia Sophia. I think that's quite wonderful. So looking up again, we see the mathematics playing out far above our heads. But after that particular shot, this is one of my favourites. Someone who's come to look and think and reflect. And the afternoon sun plays through the translucent stone, the light of the mind and the heart of the imagination. These help keep the tall tales running straight as a die on the truth track. Join me again next week for another in our series Tall Tales and True from kiwiconnexion.nz. You can find the link to the sermon collection here. And thanks for watching.